Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman out here at my shooting range in sort of a part two of a video that I made a few years ago when I first started my channel. What I've got here on the table is my little Remington model 788 chambered in 222 Remington, and I've been experimenting with some different loads and I found a really good load for it, and I just wanted to share it with you folks. Now, I've experimented with different bullets. I've got some Burger bullets here. These are 52 grain and a really good looking bullet, but I need to check out some different powder loadings for these particular shaped bullets. They're kind of a hollow point. Give you a close-up here. There you can see the hollow tip, and it's pretty much a flat base bullet, as you can see. And these are for target, these are target bullets, but they're also excellent for varmints, as it says here. Recommended for target, but also good for varmint hunting. And that would include anything from prairie dogs, ground squirrels, woodchucks or groundhogs, all the way up to coyotes, things like that. I definitely would not recommend them for any kind of big game because they're just too frangible. But the one bullet that it really has shown the greatest promise with is these Sierra Blitz Kings in 50 grain. These have a polymer tip. This is a brand new box of them here, as you can see. And these are a boat tail Spitzer. And I'll tell you what, I've had some really good results using these Sierra bullets. And Sierra makes some excellent bullets anyway. They always have. They've traditionally been known for making very accurate and well-performing bullets, no matter what kind of caliber that you have, or what kind of game that you're going after. Let me talk about the little rifle first. I'll give you another close-up of this gun. This is a first-year production Remington Model 788. I've got the bolt open here so you can see the locking lugs. There's 3 rows, and there's 9 lugs in all. So the action locks up very securely, as you could hear. It's got a beautiful American walnut stock. Got the full length 24-inch barrel, and it's topped with a 3x9 Redfield partner. And it's held on with Burris Deluxe scope rings, as you can see. And the gun balances really well. It's a little bit on the heavy side, but that just adds to the stability of the gun, in my opinion, and it's a very accurate shooter. Here's the box type magazine that came with the gun. It holds 4 cartridges. And there you can see the rounds. They're very close to the 223 Remington, and just a little bit smaller. And actually, let me put this magazine in real quick, that way you can see how it attaches. I'll talk about the cartridge. It just slides right in just like that. And to unclip it, you just push in on this button and pull it straight out. Now, the Remington 788 was produced from 1967, which that was made in, I think, June of 1967, until 1983. And within that time period, there were about 565,000 of these little rifles made. And they came chambered everywhere from the 222 Remington, 223 Remington, the 22-250, the 243 Winchester, the 6mm Remington, the 7mm 08, the 308, the 30-30, and also the 44 Magnum. Really popular cartridges. And the 222 is just one that I've always wanted, and I've always wanted one in the Remington 788, and I found a really nice example here. Very handsome rifle. They're getting harder and harder to find because a lot of people are discovering that even though this was intended to be a economy grade rifle at the time. They're really fine shooters, and they'll shoot side by side with some of the best Remington 700s and Winchester Model 70s. I mean, they're really good shooting rifles. So if you run across one at a good price and a caliber that you want, I would highly recommend getting that rifle, as long as it's in good condition. Now, the Remington Model 788 was the big brother to a rimfire rifle version that Remington also produced for several years, starting in 1967, and that was the Remington Model 581, and I've got one here on the table. You've seen this little rifle before, and as most of you probably well know by now, this is my favorite rimfire rifle. This is also a first-year production, 1967, the same as the Model 788 that I've got here on the table, and it's chambered in .22 long rifle, of course. This was one of the 3 models that was available in the 580 series. The 580 was just a single shot bolt action rifle, just like the Model 581. And then there was the Model 582, which had a tubular magazine. And then the Model 581, which had a clip type magazine, just like the 788. So the Model 581 was actually the one that was the most like the Model 788. Now, since the Remington Model 581 was the most like its big brother, the Remington Model 788, it was probably the most popular of the trio that I just mentioned, the Model 580, the 581, and the 582, because sportsmen and hunters could have a big game version, you know, something they hunted deer with or whatever, or even elk, chambered in 7mm 08 or 308 or 6mm Remington. And they could have a rimfire version that was very similar to their big game rifle. You know, the same type of lockup system, the same trigger system and everything. The two just went together naturally. So sportsmen saw that as being a very appealing factor, and a lot of guys, you know, had the 788 and also had a Model 581 because they were all available in the same time period as well. Now, Remington also came out with another line of rifles that was chambered in a rather unusual cartridge, and that was the Remington Model 591 and the 592. And I haven't spoken about either one of those rifles because they're really kind of rare, you know, relatively rare and hard to find anymore. And the 5mm Remington cartridge became rather obsolete, and for a long time that cartridge wasn't even available. You know, it was out of production. So folks that had either a 591 or a 592 had a rifle they couldn't shoot because they didn't have any ammunition for it. And then Aguila came along and started producing cartridges for those rifles. And now sportsmen can once again enjoy shooting their 591 or their 592 Remingtons. I just recently saw one at a pawn shop, and I almost picked it up, but I still opted not to get it because of the obsolete nature of the ammunition. And honestly speaking, I don't really have any need for the 5mm Remington Magnum. In my opinion, it's too powerful for small game hunting, and you know, if I need to go varmint hunting, I've got a rifle right here that will fill that need very well. I can load the 222 Remington to any velocity that I need here where I live. So, you know, this rifle and these rimfires will perfectly be sufficient for any needs that I have. But it's still interesting because the 591 and the 592 are, like I said, relatively obsolete, but they're also rare. Therefore, they're also of high collector value. So if you own one of those rifles, hold on to it. And if you can, stock up on your ammunition, because, you know, we never know when that ammunition is going to be no longer in production. So get plenty of ammo so that you can get out and enjoy shooting your rifles. But getting back to the Remington Model 788, we're going to put out some targets down here at 100 yards, and I'm going to shoot some 5-shot groups, and then we're going to put out some water jugs and see what kind of performance we can get out of the Sierra Blitz King using the 222 Remington. Something I should mention is that all of my shots will be at 100 yards, because that's where I like to test my ammunition and my rifles, is at realistic hunting ranges. You know, it does you no good to test right up here close to the barrel, because you're not going to be encountering game right up front here. You're going to be encountering it downrange, and I think 100 yards is a good distance to be able to measure the performance of any cartridge like the 222 Remington. So let's do a little shooting here. All right, let's see if we can find any parts of this bullet. That's the first jug. And it only penetrated one jug and into the second jug here. I see some fragments in there. See if there's anything left. This being a varmint bullet, I would expect it to come apart pretty violently. That's what's left of it there. Not much. There is a little bit of lead left, but not much. It pretty much disintegrated. Well, there's two pieces there. And that's the 50 grain Sierra Blitz King, fired out of a 222 Remington at 100 yards and into water jugs, 1 gallon water jug. And that's shot out of my Remington Model 788. Well, after seeing that 5-shot group being shot at 100 yards using my Remington Model 788, I think most of you can agree that the 222 Remington is a superbly accurate cartridge. Here's the first shot here, just slightly to the left. That's the fouling shot, shot on a cold, clean barrel, and then all 4 subsequent shots right there clustered into one clover leaf right there, pretty much the size of a shirt button, or 1/4 inch size group. Now here's another group that I shot at the same distance using the same load, and I had a little bit of a crosswind that day, but as you can see, you know, that's a 1/2 inch group all day long. So 1/4 to 1/2 inch groups are a regular thing for that particular rifle, and I attribute that more to the particular caliber that it's chambered in, and that's the 222 Remington, designed by Mike Walker, the late Mike Walker, who was an excellent engineer for Remington. And I think we owe a great debt of gratitude not only to him, but also to the cartridge here, because the 222 Remington is the basis, the father, for a lot of cartridges that are available nowadays. One of the most popular cartridges being the 223 Remington, or 556 also. It was also chambered and shortened for a pistol cartridge, the 221 Fireball. And that was available in a kind of a sleek looking pistol that Remington came out with, which was the XP 100. It was a bolt action pistol chambered in 221 Fireball. Now there were other pistols that were also available, such as the Thompson Center Contender, but all of them were based on the 222 Remington. Then Remington also came out with the 222 Remington Magnum, which is now pretty much obsolete, but there are still a lot of rifles out there chambered in that particular caliber or that particular cartridge. Now the 222 Remington is not totally obsolete, even though there's been a lot of people that have gotten on the internet and in shooting magazines and articles that have said that the 222 is no longer a viable cartridge. And like I said, I don't believe that. I think they still are, because in Europe, for example, the 222 is still very much alive, and it's still being chambered in rifles such as the Tikka and the CZ. I'm not sure how many other manufacturers still make rifles chambered in the 222 Remington. But here in the United States, we tend to leave things behind when something new and flashy comes along. And since the 223 will pretty much overshadow the performance of the 222, let's not leave this cartridge in the shadows. Let's keep remembering it and honoring it. And like I said, we owe it a great debt of gratitude, because it's the beginning of a lot of famous cartridges that have served us so well. And let's also not forget the man that designed the cartridge, and that's Mike Walker of Remington. So I'm going to do a little bit more shooting this evening and testing out different loads for this particular rifle, but I think I found a good pet load for it, as you could see. But if you own one of these little rifles, no matter what caliber it's chambered in, I think you'll agree with me that the Remington Model 788 is definitely another American classic. So with that being said, remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, whatever your outdoor pursuit might happen to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And until next time, also remember, hit that like button, smash the bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, y'all take care, get out there and enjoy the great outdoors, and God bless. We'll see you next time.